Moving forward, still competitive games. This is a really competitive slate in terms of point spread here until the last game. But we have James Madison, a 3.5-point road favorite at Marshall. This game carries an over under 50 points, and it kicks off Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. This did open up James Madison minus 2.5, and I was not quick enough to get on that. I wanted it, but that was gone in a second. And the under has also been bet down from 52.5 to 49.5 in some spots here Tuesday night. The best unit for James Madison this year, by the way, a wagon. Let's just say overall, this team is a wagon. Just the way that they pasted Georgia Southern last week.
Love it.
Yeah, right. The best unit for this Dukes team, though, I think is their defensive front. They have a 9.1% sack rate. That's top 20 nationally. Edge rusher Jalen Green, he's a beast. He leads the Sun Belt with 9 sacks. That's the second most nationally. And he just dominates in all aspects of the game. You look at pass rush win rate, you look at PRP, you look at QB hits, pressures, all that stuff. He's just a menace. There's a lot of strength versus strength in this matchup, which I think is great. That's why the spread is so close. Neither offense is really efficient at rushing, and both teams have very good pass defenses. So if you're looking to funnel the ball through the air, both teams are well equipped to defend that. But the difference for me here is James Madison is second in the nation, rush EPA allowed on the year. 1.4 yards per attempt is what they are allowing on this season. That's the best in the country by a pretty healthy margin. And when you look at Marshall, I think the best player on their offense is Rasheen Ali, their running back. So if they want to be able to run through that, even if they have not been all that efficient this season, James Madison's not going to let that happen, barring some very surprising thing. Look, they have not allowed 100 yards on the ground from an entire team this season. Granted, Ali is the best running back that they faced this year by, I think, a pretty healthy margin. He's 11 touchdowns on the season, which is the second most nationally. And he's had at least 2 touchdowns scored in each game on the ground, except against NC State, where he only carried the ball 14 times because NC State scored almost 50 points in that game, so the ball was kind of forced out of his hands. Defensively, Marshall's taken a huge hit the last few weeks. I mean, overall in the season, but especially in the last 3 weeks, they're allowing 39 points per game in their last 3 games. They're certainly missing Lance Guidry, who's out. He had the cup of coffee in Tulane, and now he's at Miami coaching up a defense that's pretty disruptive this season. They fell from 4th overall to 54th in defensive points per drive surrendered from last year to this year. Something has to give here, though. I talked about how they're inefficient at rushing. You have Marshall's run defense is 116th in EPA per rush. James Madison, 124th in EPA per rush on offense. So one of those two things has to give. Either James Madison's going to be able to move the ball, or Marshall's going to get a little bit of a boost to that run defense here. And then quarterback Jordan McLeod coming off his best game of the year, but I'm interested to see how the game plan approaches this.
6.4 out of 10. That's the watchability score here. It's a top 20 game of the week for me, Brett. I feel like I've been catching a few strays on social media for not, quote, respecting the G5 or for having Power 5 bias in the model. Listen, I'm looking at my most deserving rankings. Let's start with James Madison. I have a number 18. Like, I got the Dukes ranked. I have Air Force, number 24. I have Tulane, number 28. I have Liberty, number 31. Like, there's no disrespect for the G5. Like, I'm sorry that
it's because you don't have their game ranked number 1 or number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry that, like, I don't have your team power rated in the top 10. Like, what are we looking for here? Like, I've never been accused of being a G5 hater. I feel like that's come out of the woodwork here recently, and I'm really not sure why. But anyway, I like James Madison a lot. They're my favorite G5 team this year. They're a lot of fun. They're still in year 2 of their transition. I can't stress enough how much of a shame it is that James Madison is ineligible for the Sun Belt Championship game. I understand it. It's the rules. I get it. Doesn't mean it sucks any less for James Madison and their fans and what this team is achieving. In this game, I have James Madison minus 4.5. It's a 63% win expectancy. I mentioned it. The Dukes are number 18 in my most deserving rankings. There's only a 52% chance that the average top 25 team would be 6-0 against their schedule. That's number 14 nationally. James Madison has 2.2 more wins than my preseason realistic expectations projected through week 7. That's number 2 nationally, behind only Texas State, another G5. With a power rating of 4.0 and a corresponding ranking of 44, this is the best the Dukes have been in the predictive metrics all year. The offense is power rated a season best number 55, and the defense is power rated a season best number 40 as things stand right now. Simply put, this is the best team in the Sun Belt. This is the best team, not the best team in G5 for me from a power rating standpoint, but the best resume in G5. So sorry if I misspoke on that earlier. They have a 15% chance to finish 12-0 by my current numbers. For Marshall, they're number 82 in the power ratings. That's the worst they've been power ranked all year. 2 weeks ago, the Thundering Herd defense was ranked a season high number 33. Back-to-back losses on the road at NC State and Georgia State. This unit has now fallen to a season low, number 59 for me. The offense, though, is power rated at a season best, number 87. So again, not great, but it's the best they've been all year on that side of the ball by my numbers. These are the two best defenses in the East Division. And while this game is in Huntington, James Madison should have the advantage on both sides of the ball by my numbers. And with the win here, Marshall's chances to win the East rise to 21%, which honestly isn't too far behind the current leaders. I have Georgia Southern right now at 28% before they play a game this weekend. So that East is very congested. If James Madison was eligible, it'd be even more so. But bottom line, I got James Madison minus 4.5. It's a 37% chance that Marshall puts an end to their 2-game losing streak.
Yeah, so I was just doing a quick Google search with Marshall and James Madison, how close they are. And I feel like this could blossom into like a fun regional Sun Belt match, like rivalry. They're less than 5 hours apart, which if it was by the crow flies, I'm sure it'd be a lot faster. But because you have to drive through the West Virginia mountains, it takes about 5 hours. But I think it could be a fun one, and we'll see how this goes. I do think that playing in Huntington is pretty difficult. Jones C. Edwards Stadium does get pretty packed. We'll see if they stripe it out or anything like that for this game. But James Madison, big opponent. I hope that the fans in Huntington show up that day. Look, James Madison's on a roll, and even the way that Marshall's defense is playing lately, I lean James Madison over 27.5 team points, and I also think I lean them with the points, minus 3.5. I know it's through 3. I know I missed out on 2.5. Bad, I guess bad CLV there, but I don't think 3.5 is enough. James Madison is dominating teams right now, like scorched earth, not leaving any evidence behind. So I think they run away with this one.